Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm the Sports Guru 716 and I hope you enjoy my 8th installment of the 2016 Sprint Cup Series preview. In this episode I'll cover the Penske Racing duo as well as the Furniture Racing team themselves. So in the Penske Racing stable you have Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano. Two teams that could win at any racetrack at any time. Penske Racing is one of those teams that could win any race, and Joey Logano proved it with a few victories last season. Keselowski had a championship a couple years ago. If Logano and Kenseth don't get into a mess, they wouldn't have wrecked each other, and Logano probably would have been in the last four going into Homestead for last season's championship as well. As you can see here, they both do win regularly. Keselowski, when he moonlights in the Xfinity Series, wins very often, just as much as Logano. Both of these drivers could be in victory lane in any series at any time, whenever they race. And both are very good championship contenders. You see Penske Racing just constantly, week in, week out, carry the Ford banner on their back because Roush Racing and Petty cannot get it done where Penske does. And you wonder if Penske would give some information to Roush, although they're competitors, they're also manufacturing partners. And to be quite honest, you can't just have two teams of Ford doing very well. They all use the same engine, so you have to wonder, what is Penske doing that Roush isn't, that is getting it done? And it's probably a lot to do with skill of the drivers. When Joey Logano came into the series and took over the 20 car from Tony Stewart, everybody said he was the next best thing since sliced bread. And to be honest, he is a very good race car driver, and it's coming along now. It took him a few years, but he's finally got it under control. Because as you can see, even in 2010, he only finished 8th in points in the Xfinity Series. He never competed for a championship in the Xfinity Series on his way up. But once he got into Cup in his last 2 years here, he has been a force to be reckoned with Penske Racing. Keselowski, as we know, he has a reputation around the circuit as being that guy that kind of takes control. He does what he wants. He wants a win. If he can get a chance at a win, you better watch out because your bumper is free game. And that is a lot like the Intimidator used to be. But to be quite honest, Keselowski just goes with that mantra. If the win is there, he's going to go for it, whether you're in the way or not. And that's the way we need NASCAR to be in, because that's what appeals to people. Not necessarily accidents, but people going for wins. If you're just going to settle for second place, it's not an interesting race. All of a sudden, you wasted 3 hours of your life to see two guys settle for second and third, when instead they should be racing hard for first and being willing to take the guy out to get a win. Keselowski's the only guy in the series willing to be punched in the mouth to get a win, and it's a shame. But, he's always a threat. He could win a championship this year just like Logano. And this is the start of where my previews get into where I can have drivers that are, contenders every single week. And these guys are especially good at the big 2-mile tracks like Michigan and places like that, where they just get it done. There are a few races this year where they just dominated back and forth, both of them. And it's them putting the Ford banner on their back, and hopefully they won't have to do it this season. But I could see either one of these guys in Homestead holding the trophy above their head. Moving over to Toyota this season, we have the Martin Truex-driven Furniture Row 78. This team is probably the greatest single-car team since Alan Kulwicki. And it is a very, very nice, inspirational story to pay attention to the 78 and how they've worked their way from the bottom to the top, from a start and park with Kenny Wallace and Joe Nemechek to today, that Colorado-based team, thousands of miles away from the hub of stock car racing in Charlotte, North Carolina, that they are putting it together week in and week out, and they had like a 15-race stretch where they just dominated, and they were competitive last season, and they finished fourth, the last of the four at Homestead. But you know what? They had one of the best seasons that we've seen in a long time in the first half. And this year, I would not be surprised with them partnering with Gibbs instead of RCR. That partnership may lead them to victory lane even more often than they did last season. Martin Truex had trouble trying to find that second career victory, and now he has 3. And to be honest, they have the potential to win a championship with Joe Gibbs' help. And even though they're based in Colorado, they get it done. Those engineers, those mechanics, they get the vehicles ready, and the cars are at the track, and they are competitive. And it's really inspirational to see a team like this start at the bottom and just work their way up. Martin Truex, he's going through his problems with his girlfriend and things like that, and with her fight with cancer, and I was rooting for him in the championship. I really wanted him to win. I thought it was a great story. I thought he really, really deserved it, but it went all for naught. But he will be competitive this season, and he continues to be competitive week in and week out. And with that Joe Gibbs help, one could just, you can't even imagine really the possibilities. I think a championship is in reach. I do think a couple wins are in reach as well. And this is just, it's really cool to see. I am a fan of the 78 to a degree. I'm really not a fan of Toyota, so I guess I'm just going to root for them when it's between all the Toyotas. I'm going to root for the 78. And that should do it for this episode. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, like it down below. Subscribe. Subscribe if you want to see future daily content. I upload almost every day, if not every day. And I like to get your feedback. Post down below anything that you'd like me to talk about in my Spitting the Truth series. If you don't know what that is, go to my channel and click on one of the videos. Most of them are hockey right now, but I am willing to talk about anything because I spit the truth and tell you the truth on whatever topic in sports that you have. So, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.